RC, that probably is not gonna mean a lot to you right now, but it will by the end of the presentation. I get to share why I started my business with you.
Sorry, folks.
Oh, before we get started, I'm sorry, we got some housekeeping rules that I failed to go over. If you have your cell phones, which I'm sure most of you do, you might wanna just put them on vibrate or silence them. We don't want you to miss any of the information you're gonna hear tonight. Also, if you have questions, we've got plenty of people in the room that can answer those questions for you. So hold those off till the end, if you would, that would be great. Like I said again, my name is Terry Palermo, and the reason why I started my Ambit business, I worked in a corporate world for over 20 years, and the company ended up dissolving due to the economy, so I found myself in the unemployment line, and that's not a pretty place to be, if any of you have been there. In the meantime, I started another corporation, and getting that off the ground was difficult again due to the economy and the work not being there. So my father actually had gotten sick at the time with cancer, so I was able to do my business when I wanted to do it and still be with him at the hospital and get him through his ordeal while he was taking care of that. And I'm happy to say today he's cancer-free. My mom that was having some difficulties with health, so I wanted to be able to help her out if she needed it, and unfortunately she's passed since then, but we plug away at the business and it's a great opportunity. I can't say enough about it. My sister got me involved in it, and you guys take a look at this. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, nothing I've ever been involved in, and we've got a great team of people here. And so that's why I started my business. Maybe you're here for a different reason. Maybe you have, debt that you want to eliminate. I know a lot of people today with this economy, like I said again, it's tough with the debt. Maybe you want some additional income to pay off some of that debt, or, for whatever, for vacations, or you might want to have time with your family. Maybe you're working so much that you don't even get to see your kids, or you're rushing home to get them dinner, or, getting them in bed and the next day they're off to school. Maybe you want to provide for charity. I mean, wouldn't we all love to just give back? It's kind of tough to do in these times. Maybe you like to build a savings, or put your kid through the college that you want them, that they want to go to, not the one that you can afford them to go to. And maybe you just want financial freedom, and for all of that, that's a little different. We'll get more into that as we go along in the presentation. So, thank you for having me, and I get to introduce our next speaker. He is building an amazing team here in Rochester. He's a great support. He's a great friend. Pablo.
Thank you. You tell me you do a great job or what? Well, I want to thank everybody for being here this evening. As Terry said, my name is Pablo Nieves. I'm a professional firefighter in the city of Rochester. I've been in the fire service now roughly about 27 years. Love what I do, don't get me wrong. But back in June or July of 2010 was when I first got introduced to this, and I had no clue what it was. I was actually working out on Lake Avenue. You might know where Charlotte is. It was really hot. It was June or July. I was not happy because I had to be out there with the fire truck so kids could play on it. And so I wasn't happy. I was standing 10 feet away from the truck with my arms like this. Kids would come up and I just go away, just play on the fire truck. And we had to be there from 9 to 4. So, but thankfully the person that came up, tapped me on the shoulder, I knew her. She worked at City Hall at the time. Had a lot of respect for her. She said, Pablo, something's coming to Rochester and I'd like you to take a look at it and get your opinion on it. That's all she said. She gave me a DVD and I took it home. I put it in the DVD player, I looked at it, and folks, I'll tell you, it was just an amazing opportunity for me because at the time I was working not only as a firefighter full-time, but I had a part-time snowplow. I had a snowplow business for the winter with 65 clients, and I did it all myself. I had a security business where I was a bodyguard, armed bodyguard, one-on-one. I did those two. I worked as a professor at the New York State Fire Academy in Montauk Falls, New York, and I'm a New York State fire investigator. So between those 4 jobs, including a full-time one, I was constantly busy. and I found what I was looking for, something that could replace the income to most of those jobs in a short period of time without me having to work too much for it. So for us, it was about eliminating debt. It was about my daughter, who's 17, wants to go to Harvard. And when she told me that, I almost passed out. Not because Harvard's a bad school, but how does a firefighter pay for a Harvard education? That's what I was thinking. Well, thankfully, because of this opportunity, we're going to be able to take care of her college loans. So folks, what I got a chance to talk to you a little bit about with you tonight is the company, the industry, and then I'm going to bring up someone to do the opportunity part, because really that's what is the main part about this whole opportunity, is what can you do with it. Our company is called Ambit Energy. We started back in 2006. Jerry Thompson Jr. is our Chief Executive Officer, and this was his mission statement: to be the finest, most respected retail energy provider in the country. Now, Jerry Thompson Jr., who you see there, if you don't know him, you never met him, that's okay. His grandfather started 7-Eleven in the United States. So the Thompson family is extremely well known. Would you agree?
Yes.
The 7-Eleven chain is the largest franchise in the world, most successful, by the way. Over 50,000 7-Elevens thanks to the Thompson family. Now the gentleman to his left is Chris Chambers. Some of you might remember a company back in late 80s, early 90s called XL Communication. It was a company that sold long-distance service. They actually competed with, against AT&T, and they took advantage of the deregulation of telecom back in those days. And it was Mr. Chambers who basically took that company to about $1 billion in 7 years. Back then, that was a lot of money if you think about it in the 1990s. And there was only a handful of companies that actually did that. Well, when these two gentlemen got together, folks, obviously when you've got one of the founders of 7-Eleven and you've got a gentleman who takes a company to $1 billion, they come together, what do you think is going to happen? Well, Ambit Energy obviously grew so fast. It grew fast not only because of them, but it grew fast because of the executive team. A lot of our top leaders in Ambit Energy, in the executive branch, come from other companies that have a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And then obviously, as you can see, the money's really good as far as Ambit's doing now. When you grow as fast as you do, you're going to get noticed. Would you agree? And so what happens is, we have a lot of accolades. One of them in particular that I'm very proud of right here is Inc. 500 magazine. Now folks, if you understand business, to be in Inc. 500 magazine in and of itself is extremely difficult to accomplish. But imagine for just a moment Ambit Energy only being in service for about 3 years, only being in 3 states with less than 2% of the market, and they become the #1 fastest company in the United States. That was huge when they got this. Not only that, but this is direct selling news. Now, the Direct Selling Association, pretty much the Bible for direct selling companies, and the direct selling news keeps tabs of all the companies worldwide. Folks, we became the 14th largest direct selling company in the world. Now, we only started in 2006. What do you think is going to happen as we keep going? So as you can see, we have an A+ Better Business rating with the Bureau. We have an industry that, hey, let's face it, everybody you know pays an electric or gas bill, right? And if you think about it, here in Rochester specifically, RG&E controlled, they used to control everything here, but New York State changed their laws a long time ago, basically allowing customers like you and I to choose a supplier. Folks, let me make it very clear. If you're a guest in here, understand that you have to pay electric or gas bill. And in that bill, you pay a delivery charge, a supply charge, and you pay taxes, right? That has to be paid. The supply side has to be paid. If you do not choose a supplier, RG&E or Con Ed or National Grid or NYSEG will choose one for you. So it's nice to be able to know that we can choose our supplier because that's half your bill. Now, the energy industry, when you think about it in the United States, roughly is around a $500 billion industry. $500 billion exchanging money. These great states represent about $100 billion of that. Ambit is currently right now just in 9 states, partially deployed. Actually, about 5% of the market in Texas, everywhere else less than 3. Guaranteed less than, and in some states less than 1, because we just opened not so long ago California. So if you think about it for just a moment, we all know how this works. Gas and electric is produced someplace. Me, I don't care where it's produced as long as I turn the switch on and the light turns on. right? It gets delivered by RG&E or whoever is your incumbent provider wherever you live. I live in Mount Morris, so we get NYSEG down there. And Ambit basically now sits in between where it comes from and where it's going. It's all done back office. We as customers don't see this. Ambit's basically getting the gas and electric to RG&E. RG&E's gonna deliver that whether we like it or not, correct? It's on auto ship. You can't call up on July 2nd and say, look, I've got enough gas to last me to July 30th, I really don't need any more. It's coming no matter whether you like it or not. So if you think about it, the service, everybody uses it. Unless you're Amish. Any Amish? Okay, well even Amish use it for the horses, because I have a neighbor that has it, he's Amish, only electric for the horses, not the house. So that stunned me right there. But everybody uses it, doesn't cost anything to become a customer, and the reason why it doesn't cost anything is you're already paying the bill. On top of that, nothing changes. For example, the power goes out, RG&E takes care of all that. The bill, you still get one. So if you think about it for just a moment, nothing is going to change. And by the way, your lights don't get any brighter. The gas on the stove doesn't get any hotter. It's the same gas and electric you were getting from wherever you were getting it before, except now you're going to get a discount on it. Any business owners in here? Traditional business owners. Then you guys understand the headaches, right? Employees, a product, having to pay for that product, having to collect money for it. A little later on, we're going to bring up some speaker who's going to talk about, imagine for just a moment, a business that you can own part-time where you have no employees, where you have no inventory, no deliveries. Would you agree that RG&E does a really great job in making sure we pay our bill on time? So we don't have to worry about collections. Please don't ask any of us to deliver any gas or electric to your house. We can't do that. Okay, that's already done. You're not going to call Sam's and see how much cheaper you can get it. It's going to come from wherever it's coming from, but as business owners, we don't have to deal with the same headaches everybody else has. Now, in New York State, we have a guaranteed savings for all customers. What I like about that is, let's say someone decides to be a customer. You get the right to choose your supplier, and it's going to give you right up front 7% for 2 months, the first 2 months, and then they guarantee, and they're the only company that does this, they guarantee in writing 1% below the incumbent provider up in New York. So it doesn't matter when someone says, well, what if RG&E lifts the rates? Well, what do you care? They always pay. You always pay less. Why do you care what RG&E does? See what I'm saying? Don't worry about what the incumbent does. Ambit guarantees you'll always pay less than the incumbent. Now, the other thing I like, and they didn't have to do this, but it was nice when they did, it's a way to keep customers, kind of. Did anybody here ever get a gift from RG&E when they turned their RG&E gas and electric service on to their house?
Yes, monthly bill.
Okay, got a bill, okay? But the nice thing about this is, Ambit came out with a gift, basically for our customers. It's nothing more than a couple of days. They pay for a couple of days in a night hotel. Basically, it's like 25 different locations. You choose one, you get there, they cover the weekend. Did anybody unplug their refrigerator before they came here today? Anybody unplug? Don't look at me weird. You unplug the refrigerator? No. How about alarm clocks? Anybody unplug alarm clocks? Folks, when you walk around your house at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just because you want to and you know you can, what is on? When you think about it, any little lights on all over the place, some of them kind of annoying. And you kind of like need those lights so that you know where you're walking so you don't bang your toe into something, right? So you got these lights around. So if you think about it for a moment, in the summertime you got something burning. In the wintertime, is the thermostat set at a certain temperature? That even when you're not there, what's turning on? The furnace. So if you're using electric and gas 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, why not have it converted to travel reward points so that you can go on vacation from the energy you got to use anyway? I mean, this is a no-brainer. Who wants to go on a cruise? I mean, some of them, not in Italy, but I'm just saying. But if you think about it for just a moment, it's nice to have the travel reward points. So, on top of all of this, Ambit decided, you know what, let's give a customer a free website in their name. That way they can track their usage. Isn't it nice? We can look at how many therms kilowatts we're using. On top of that, if you've got a website of your own, well, let me ask you this. Folks, if you're driving down the street and the gas station on your right is $4 a gallon, the one on the left is $3, where are you going? When you finally realize that the gas you're pumping at $3 a gallon is no different than the gas they're pumping at $4, who are you going to tell?
Everybody.
Well, that's called a referral, isn't it? Well, when you realize that the gas and electric that you're getting from Ambit is no different than the neighbor across the street, all you gotta do is refer them to the service that they already have to pay for. Except now, you're getting it cheaper, they get it cheaper, and when you make 5 referrals, Ambit basically sends whoever the customer is that made the referral goes to vacation again. It's a beautiful thing. It's nice to get away. Customers are not gonna get paid. You don't wanna have that, especially with the IRS today, you don't wanna have to tell them you're making money, right? So if you think about it, a customer's not getting paid, a customer's getting a vacation, basically for making a referral. Would anybody here like to have half their bill gone every month?
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't say it, just get out. Just leave. Folks, think about it for a moment. You have to pay the bill anyway. We're not talking about delivery, we're talking about supply of your bill. If you can eliminate half your bill, which is usually supply, why not then refer another 10 people who you know that have to pay that bill anyway? Help them lower their gas and electric bill, and in return, you get yours for free. Basically, let's say you referred 15 customers. Now, 15 customers could be Uncle John, Sue, Jack, Dave, people who you know. You're already paying a bill. Neighbors, co-workers, people who you love. Don't refer to the people who you don't like. Just the people who you don't love and care about, okay? Let the other ones you don't like pay more. But if you think about it for a moment, if you're going to refer it to 15 people who you like, and those 15 people pay a bill that month, Ambit takes the average of the 15 electric and the average of the 15 gas, and whatever the averages comes out to, they send a check or credit to you for your supply. So if your bill is $400 and the average came out to be $100 for the electric, $100 for the gas, that's $200 coming back to you for your supply. If you could save $100 a month every month, wouldn't that be worth it? For a service you gotta pay for anyway? So this is kind of like a no-brainer. We have no contracts. We have no penalty fees, no cancellation fees. I tell people, try it for 90 days. Look, if you don't like it, if you don't like the savings you're getting, hey, go back to where you can, it's your money. Do what you want with it, right? But if you like the savings and you love and care about the people who you know, then refer them to the service. So up to this point, it's a no-brainer regarding our customers. They get some free travel. They get to save on a bill they have to pay anyway. And on top of all of that, they get some free energy. Good perks, free energy, right? Yeah. Up to this point, free. Everything is nice. The gentleman I'm going to talk that's going to come up next, he ain't talking about free. What he's going to be talking about is who wants to make money. Oh, yeah. Folks, you're either saving money or making money. If you're only doing saving and you're not making, you're in trouble. If you didn't know that you can make money off this bill, the guy that's going to come up next is an expert at teaching how you can do this. He has built a very successful business up in Western New York. He's a good friend of mine, a mentor. And when he made executive consultant, we're very happy for him. Why? Because that is the second highest position in this company. It is where you want to be if you're doing this business. And if you could please help me welcome, folks, stand to your feet and welcome executive consultant Jack Davis.
I love it. Look at this room. It is 4th of July week, right? Yeah. No Patriots here? What's going on here? That's where we are? Yeah, my name's Jack Davis. I'm an executive consultant, and I'm from Syracuse, the Syracuse area. And it was actually just a few years ago that I actually first looked at this business. My business actually started way before then, though. For 20 years, I punched a clock. I had a job. Anybody else got that problem? Don't call me in the morning. I'm not going to be there. But jobs are jobs, and we all need them. But, I worked at a great place. It was great employment. I made a lot of money. They gave us great vacation time, the whole thing. I did that for 20 years. And after almost 20 years, they called me up one day and they said, look, we're closing the facility. I said, whoa. They didn't call and consult with me when I wanted to close, and that's been a problem recently. Now, in 1995, you can find our job. In 2010, 11, 12, and 13, it's a different story, and I'm sure some of you people are unfortunate going through it. I'm sorry about that. But in looking at that job, 1995, I was on the street looking for something. And then I found myself in the mortgage banking industry. Nothing I'd ever done in my life. I literally saw a window opportunity open up, and I decided to try something different. And I got in the mortgage banking business, and for the next 14 years, I had, again, what I thought was a lot of freedom and a great job and all that. The problem was still linear income, just like punching a clock. I had to show up to get paid, and what I was really looking for was an exit strategy. You see, the white hair is real, and I've always been looking, trying to get away from that work thing, and I know how I was going to do it. I really would love to live someplace that's a little warmer than upstate New York in the winter, but I realized that even in the mortgage banking industry, which I had a lot of success at, I really couldn't get away from them. Because if I didn't write those loans or close those loans or get those loans finally filed, there was no paycheck. It's that simple, right, Larry? And that's just how this business works. Well, the whole time I was in the banking industry, it seems like everybody and their brother would call me up and say, Jack, let's go out to lunch. No, I like lunch, so I'd always go. But they would never tell me why they wanted to meet for lunch, which told me they wanted to show me network marketing. It was automatic. I just knew what it meant. That was fine with me, because I do like to eat. But also, as I mentioned, I was a mortgage banker, which means that maybe they need a mortgage. So I networked the networker. I kind of joked about it, but that's what I did. And I did it about 28 different times, different companies. I looked at everything you can imagine, juices, pills, lotions. I looked at Avon twice, and Mary Kay twice. I mean, why? Me selling beauty products to do it. But understand, I looked at these companies over and over and over. I understood the structure. And then in 2007, a friend of mine named Frank asked me to take a look at this business. He had me watch a video called Energy 526. I took a look at that, and I knew there was something a little bit different about this. You know, Powell did a great job of explaining the company and the base behind the company, Jerry Thompson. Understand one thing about this company. This is not a network marketing company. This is an energy company. Jerry Thompson just agreed to use the network marketing model for one reason. He wants loyal customership. That's the reason. And that allows us to all be involved. And through looking at this business, literally 4 or 5 years ago, and taking a look at it, I realized there was something different about it. Well, unlike some of you people in the room, I passed. In fact, I passed for 10 months.